Hi and welcome to another camera comparison. This time between the GoPro Hero 10 and the DJI Action 2. My name is Sam from those.com, and in this video we are going to find out what will set them apart. Well, DJI really did a good job when they released their first action camera. In fact, it was so good that it easily kept up with all the cameras that followed up to 2 years after its release. And now they are back with a completely new camera. What you see now is both cameras at their highest resolution. We have 5.3K and 60 frames per second on the Hero 10 and 4K 60 frames per second on the DJI Action 2. The first thing that you see is that the DJI is noticeably wider than the GoPro. Color profile wise, the GoPro is set on natural and DJI has a default setting which is called normal. The white balance is also set to auto. Both are doing a similar good job. As you can see, the sun is already setting, which means we haven't had the brightest conditions. In terms of stabilization, both did also a good job. In this one we did not turn the horizon leveling or horizon steady on. Still, the GoPro seems to hold the horizon leveled out a bit better than the Action 2. Here, we turn on the horizon leveling and horizon steady. We were impressed with GoPro's 45-degree angle before, but now the DJI killed it with a 180-degree tilt. But this is only possible with 2.7K or less and the 16:9 ratio. It is actually also achievable with a GoPro, but you need a lens mod to do so. We couldn't spot a significant difference when looking at the footage of me running, except that the GoPro has again a more narrow image. Here you can see the Hyperlapse, aka time warp feature on both cameras. This time we set them to auto, which means that the cameras themselves shows the speed of how fast the Hyperlapse will be recorded. The DJI shows a faster pass than the GoPro. Quality-wise, GoPro's footage has more details and is brighter, but the sky and the monument that I walk towards is very burnt out and seems to suddenly appear out of nowhere as I get closer to it. Okay, now let us take a look at the one feature that action cams are famous for, and that is the slow motion feature. Let's start with 4K 120 frames, since this is the new standard. Again, GoPro has a more narrow view, and it is somehow messing up the white balance by creating a very cold image. But it seems to be sharper than DJI's image. This one is in 2.7K on both, with 120 frames on the DJI and 240 frames per second on the GoPro side. The DJI appears a little bit brighter, which is good, and it maintains its sharpness, whereas the GoPro loses quality. In 1080p we have both again at an equal frame rate of 240 frames per second. The GoPro's image quality looks almost the same as in 2.7K. This time the DJI get a noticeable reduction of image quality. We gotta mention that we upscaled the footage to 4K to fit it into the frame. We did our research and watched tons of videos. Therefore, we thought that the Action 2 would have been better in terms of low-light performance. But our footage tells a different story. As you can see, the DJI has more grain. Look at the highest building in the back and at the building right in front. By stepping back into an even dark environment, you can't see much. Both have grain and they again differ in color rendering. The Hero 10 again has a bluish touch. The Action 2 maybe has a little tiny bit more details. Well, this is how these two cameras are recording sound. We will switch now from camera to camera. How different they sound. I gotta say that both cameras only have one microphone, but as soon as you attach the DJI Action 2, you actually have 4 microphones. So let's see how they sound. This is the sound of the GoPro Hero 10. This is the sound of the DJI Action 2 with the module. And this is the sound of the Action 2, the module attached. Okay, in terms of battery or durability, these two are quite different, but also share the same issue. And yes, you probably already know it is the overheating issue. In this test, we will see how long they record a video. To make them last as long as possible, we set them to 1080p at 30 frames per second. Before we start with the results, we need to talk about the different setups of the two cameras. GoPro has an interchangeable battery system, while the DJI has a module system. The advantage of GoPro is that you can have as many batteries as you want, or at least as many as you can buy, so that the camera lasts as long as you want. DJI's advantage is that the life of the camera module can be extended by the other modules. The display module can extend the life by 90 minutes, and the battery module can extend the life by up to 110 minutes. The modules also charge the camera. So if you want to use only the camera module again, it will be recharged. In this test we had the display module attached. Okay, here are the results. The GoPro stopped recording after 1 hour and 21 minutes. There were still 9% of battery left. We assumed that it stopped working due to overheating. Unfortunately, we couldn't capture the frame where it says that it overheated, since we recorded the cameras with a time lapse. The DJI stopped recording after 1 hour and 37 minutes. Here we know that it stopped due to overheating. The DJI lasted a good quarter of an hour longer compared to the Hero 10. This is how the two cameras are taking pictures. The GoPro brightens up the image to bring out details in the dark parts, which leads to grain. The DJI does the opposite, which leads to a darker image. In this one you can see that both look similar sharp and have the same exposure, but the GoPro saturates its image more than DJI does. This last image shows that the GoPro burnt out the monument statue. But what you can see here is that we actually press the release button at the exact same moment. DJI needs more time to take the image than GoPro does. So you have to take that in consideration if you want to capture something quickly. The moment could already pass when you want to capture it with a DJI. In terms of functionality, these two cameras definitely differ. The module system and the classic GoPro system are quite different. The Action 2 has a strong resemblance to the GoPro Hero Session, which a lot of people liked, but seemingly not enough for GoPro to continue it. DJI invented an attachment system that is in my opinion kind of genius. There's a really strong magnet at the bottom of the camera which instantly clicks into the mount or module that you want the camera body attached to. When reattaching it to a different mount, there's no screw that you have to unscrew like you have with the GoPro system. You simply press the little hooks on both sides and pull the camera off the mount. It's that easy. DJI included a necklace with magnets so that you can easily have it attached to your chest without having that big bulky chesty that you need with the GoPro cameras. But there are a couple downsides that are, in my opinion, quite significant. The first one is that only the camera body itself is waterproof. As soon as you attach it to a module, you should not use it underwater, because the modules are not water resistant. There's a waterproof housing, but the sound recording is really suffering when you use it. And another big one is that there's no micro SD card slot. Okay, technically there is one, but only within the modules. The camera body has an internal storage capacity of 32 GB, which is not that much. Like I mentioned, the modules are the only way to extend the battery life. So the module system definitely also comes with some flaws. And yes, GoPro definitely improved the functionality by upgrading their newest camera with a new processor. It is still sometimes a little bit slow, but on the plus side, the screen is definitely bigger, which makes navigation through it easier than with DJI's tiny display. In the end, the question is, which of these two cameras is better? Well, both are great, but they are also very different. There's nothing new about the GoPro if you look back to the previous models. Yes, it got a front screen implemented, but we already got used to it with the Hero 9. The DJI Action 2 is a completely different camera compared to the first DJI Action, and also the most common action cameras on the market, except maybe the Insta360 1R. What I really like about the DJI is that you don't need that huge chassis to mount it onto your chest. But the GoPro also still has that front screen, which you are only able to have when you attach the Action 2 to the module. But then the camera isn't waterproof anymore. See, I am really confused. I really like both cameras. I think quality-wise the GoPro has a slightly better camera. Unfortunately, the DJI Action 2 now has roughly the same price as the Hero 10. Before, that was kind of a good argument to go for the Action. But that is now off the table. So, is the module system now the winning argument? Well, that is on you to decide. As always, we hope that we were able to show you the good and bad sides of both cameras. So, if you liked this video, feel free to press the thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to this channel. Till then, take care and see you soon.